calibration on the right stick isn't that great. At least the game runs at a decent frame rate now. We're probably stuck at 30, which is fine, I would argue. We're capturing this at 30 frames a second on my Windows 10 laptop. Sorry, my Windows 11 laptop. So I mean, I'm not being very picky about this research stream. And again, I did rent this game when it launched. I don't think I spent more than an hour with it. I wasn't really. I have no memories of playing this game beyond the fact that I did rent it, and it was out of sight, out of mind as soon as I rented it. Is there a reload button? I do like how they cleaned up the graphics a little bit. The game was always kind of ugly. It's an N64 game. They're almost ugly by design. Like seriously, if you look at like N6, like if you're talking, everyone keeps talking about how N64 games don't hold up visually. Well, they never held up when they came out. We just kind of accepted it because we knew this was the Atari era. Whoops. Yeah, I inverted the controls. That was a bad move. I inverted the aim controls. That was obviously a terrible move. So I can figure this out. So I said it was a research stream. We can deal with that. You don't want to get me started about how the controls worked on the N64 because they remember you had those stupid camera buttons. It just complicated everything immensely. There we go. Do I get my health back? I can crouch for some reason. But I guess they always intended for this game to be like a third person character action game because Mario is a thing. So you can understand why they weren't trying to make Goldeneye 2. That was what Perfect Dark was supposed to be. They wanted to have a mascot game. I don't blame them for wanting to make a mascot shooter. That's what I mean. I know a lot of people my age kind of felt some kind of way when the N64 came out because after GoldenEye, this M-rated game where you were staring down the barrel of a gun for 5 hours. This game comes out, you're like, you know what? This doesn't look like my. It looks like a kid's game. Well, it probably was. Like this game was rated T, wasn't it? I won't say this game was rated T, but again, it's one of those T-rated games that looks like a kid's game with slightly more violence than it should probably have. Like I said, like stuff like that, like the visual, like these visuals are just ugly as crap. They were always bad. I mean, they weren't that great on GoldenEye either, obviously, but it's like on top of the ugliness, they were also like kind of they were treated. Considered a very juvenile aesthetic. They are still doing the spoken dialogue thing that Conker's Bad Fur Day did. Because remember, MP3 technology was a thing back then, so the whole point was to crap. Probably easier to just aim than to try and just. Like I said, this isn't like Saints Row. This isn't like Saints Row. You can't just point and shoot easily like you can in that game. You got to work with it. I know there are all the backseat gamers out there who are like, "Yeah, you're bad at video games. Forsaken isn't that hard." Okay, well, the turning controls aren't great. You have to work with that. Because I got to work with the camera, unfortunately. I got to work with the camera and then strafe to kind of compensate. Like I said, if this game had like Just Cause 2 like controls, it would be perfectly fine, like a Saints Row 3 kind of game. But you have to constantly accommodate these wonky camera controls. So I'm pressing left to strafe in that direction. I don't know how the camera's working though. Yeah, like how do I turn my? Remember, it's like they don't shoot him. Whoops! Shouldn't have. Don't shoot the good guys. Sorry, I shot one of the Wampas. I shot one of the Ewoks. That's probably a bad call. Can I restart the checkpoint? Can I restart from the checkpoint? They probably shouldn't have shot that dude. Yeah, I shot one of those dudes. Probably a bad call. Oh well. I'm still, I guess that's a research stream. What are you gonna do? Okay, so these controls are really wonky. What's the map situation? Not much of a map. Thanks. I know what planet I'm on. Thanks. I didn't need a freaking star map. Okay, how am I doing this? I don't know. I'm gonna have right. I'm gonna have to really work on these controls. That's really disappointing. Again, I don't even know what modern controls means in this context. The D-pad isn't gonna help. Like, do I just accept the fact that the camera has to be reset with the left trigger all the time? Because that would suck. That's probably what's gonna have to happen. I'm gonna have to keep recentering the camera because it's slowly following behind me as I turn. You know what I mean? This is not gonna go well. What a cluster these controls. Remember, this game was a single stick game, but they didn't bother trying to recalibrate the controls for dual shock. You know what I mean? We're fighting the aliens from the 21st level from GoBots. Now what? What was that? Yeah, what? I don't know what just happened. Careful. These controls are not made for a game like this. You gotta keep. Yeah, you gotta keep like recenter. You gotta keep pressing the left trigger to recenter the camera. Hi. The problem is I'm taking so many dumb hits. Where do I get more ammo? A thing just happened. Yeah, we just had a cutaway. I don't know what that was about. So again, how do I get more ammo? Maybe I should just strafe instead of turning. Oh, I can also run like this. Okay. So I can hold down the left trigger and kind of run like this to keep the camera straight. But I can't jump when I'm in aim mode. Okay, I might not need to. Maybe I need to hold down the left trigger and just kind of play it like a Just Cause. Yeah, I can play it like this. Yeah, if I hold down the left trigger, it's a lot easier for me to move and aim simultaneously. Well, that might save this game. Wow, this makes the game a lot more manageable. Yeah, the camera's a lot easier to deal with. I can't crouch either. I still don't see what do you call it? I still don't see any ammo. That respawn. Yeah, there's my ammo reload. So what's this? Maybe it's just a checkpoint. Might just be a checkpoint marker. Okay, we'll make this. Okay, we'll make this game work. Research stream. I guess we'll do a real playthrough later. Yeah, but I'm mucking around with a bunch of. I pulled out. I turned on my Xbox One for the first time in like a month, so I can play Perfect Dark when Goldeneye dropped. Okay, that was a waste. Okay. Oh, I need to reload. Okay, so the gun on the top left-hand corner of the screen, you can see the ammo I have. 192 out of 200. But more importantly, okay, so that respawns after a while. But there are green bars next to my gun. I guess shows the overheat. I guess that's the overheat bar. What? Wait, hold on. Is this like Banjo Kazooie? Do I have to like hunt down stuff? Am I like collecting? Am I collecting Ewoks? Who knows? Maybe AOC will call in during this stream. Who knows? What are we looking for here? Yeah, we're playing rare N64 games about collecting things. nothing else, this would be an excuse for me to get a bunch of HD content from the Rare Replay because most of my Rare Replay videos were recorded on a DVD recorder via composite video cable. You know, those yellow video cables, so they weren't great. 5 remaining. I guess I didn't. I thought I killed one of them. Oh well. Most lethal weapon, grenades. I didn't throw any grenades. I like restart the level. Well, whatever. You don't go that way. Yeah, holding down the left trigger seems to be the way to do it. Holding down the left trigger means I can like move the camera around and aim simultaneously. That's fantastic. Just look down the iron sights permanently. Like I said, you can't jump, but who needs to? Of course, there's I want to see there's platforming in this game later, so this will not go well. And no, I don't remember any of this, by the way. Bang. Okay, so I think this iron looking down the iron sights might have saved the game, depending on how bad the platforming gets later. Because you know, like that, what are those games? Turok had like platforming. Because every 3D game had to be a platformer back then for some reason. Well, not every one of them, but it's like, you know what? Kids love platform games. Let's evolve 2D games into 3D and make it complete, like in Super Mario 64. It's like, yeah, like in Super Mario 64, let's Super Mario 64 is a 3D platformer. Let's make our own little 3D platformer. Guess you need to open all four. So I don't. Oh, I shot it, but only one of the four sectors lit up. I don't know what's going on with that. Let's keep shooting it. Oh, okay. I may have to shoot those particular sectors. Am I supposed to shoot them in a particular order? Someone behind me? I see a lot of bolts, by the way. Someone behind me? Am I supposed to be shooting here? Nope. Don't know what's going on with that. Not a terrible draw distance, all things considered. You know, remember this game's just a bunch of rooms. It's basically a bunch of interior areas with skyboxes that are supposed to emulate sunlight. I mean, I tend to believe that even like modern AAA indie games look better than this. But you could make a like a indie game that looks kind of like this, I think. Don't shoot them. Hey, it's a gremlin. And it looks like a cross between a gremlin and a Is it a Mowgli? Mowgli and a gremlin? Yeah, it looks like a Mowgli. Mowgli has been painted green with the gremlin ears. Yeah, my require heavy firepower because I guess my pistol isn't strong enough. Yeah, Juno. Did I want to say I want. Did I have the Juno internet service back then? It was like $10 a month for dial-up internet, something like that. You got an email account or whatever. Astonishingly, this red key can be used to open red doors. So it's basically like Wolfenstein 3D again, huh? Of course, I can't open this door. Literally gated content, locked content. You never said this game was going to be the next Mario 64, but I think in the back of their minds they were hoping this would be the next. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you make a game like this. It's been in the pipeline for a couple of years, and you're like, you know what? Now's the time to release this game. Like, we think that we can sell this game because The success of Goldeneye made this game far more valuable than it would have been otherwise. Come on. I think I need to shoot that. Yeah, I don't need to shoot that. Okay. So I got a key. Okay. Now what's going on here? What? That can't be good. You don't shoot the cover. Whoops, I backed out. I backed out. That was bad. Well, so I guess this is like Deus Ex Human Revolution. They don't follow you through doors. The enemies stay in their they stay in their sectors. Whoop, died. Because I should have strafed better. I might be. I shot him with a few boxes. That might have done the trick. How many continues am I using? Whoop, heads up. Careful. Is there a dodge roll? How do I know I'm hitting him? Yes, I got him. Okay. I don't know how much damage I took there, but it does. I don't feel like I have enough life to really survive that. Just a second. Give me the loot. I have to shoot it. Oh, I do have a dodge roll. I just have to crouch. So I can't dodge roll from a crouch. If I press the A button, I can go prone. Press it again to, yeah, so I jump to get out of the prone position. Press A to crouch, and then I just strafe to do a dodge roll. Again, it seems, again, a game like Borderlands should be a lot easier, so. Did I press the jump button? I think I pressed the jump button to interact with it. I was trying to jump on it like in a Mario game or something. Rapid but inaccurate firepower. Spray and pray, that's how we do. We have to cycle through these weapons, though, right? You can press left and right on the D-pad to like switch weapons. So let's see what this do. Like I said, it's easier to aim if you just hold down the left trigger. Can I make this jump? Yep. No, well. Oh, I gotta redo the whole thing? Got him. Yeah, that was easy. Probably about put a whole magazine into him. Okay, that's bad. I gotta re-aim just a sec. I gotta recenter myself. Give me a second. There we go. I gotta recenter the camera constantly. Machine gun ammo. That's your boy, not Machine Gun Kelly. Machine Gun Juno. Let's not do that. It sounds dangerous. So I got that. At least I got to keep the gun. I don't think I can make that jump. Yeah, I want to try and make that jump. Think I can make it from the side? Like from the other side of that? Let's try it. Think I can make that? Amazing. But if unlimited continues. Got him. Yeah, about 20 bullets probably do you. Yep. Thought I could get it. How about I just ignore those things altogether? That sounds like a good idea. I got my machine gun. Let's get out of here. Yeah, I think I'm ready to go. So yeah, whatever. Yeah, we don't want that. Need more firepower? There you go. That's how you do that. Okay, it makes a bit more sense. Keep the pistol for now till we get some more ammo. Might as well keep your back to the wall. There's your checkpoint. I mean, this game. Eh, two continues, huh? See, limit your continues in this section. I'll take that. We use the machine gun later, right? Yeah, we'll just get some more ammo first. Hey, dog. I can't jump on his head. Yeah, the auto aim seems alright. Full pistol ammo, come get me. The dung flies are a nice touch, I'll be the first to admit. Go away. Oh, sorry, don't shoot him. Hi. Gonna want to find the other ones, though. We'll work it out. Hey, guys. Here they come. Just a sec. Here they come. Don't you have an explosive barrel to hide behind? Got him. You know, reload needed. It's just a cooldown. Hey, where'd he go? There he is. Sniper on the roof. See if we can run from cover to cover. I thought there was one more dude over there. Did I get him? I don't remember killing him. I'm not complaining, but I don't remember killing him. Yeah. Maybe he did seppuku. Just a second. There's someone over here? Well, full machine gun ammo is always good. Why should you use more of it? Are there like high jump boots in this game? I did. Didn't I see you in Earth Defense Force? Not the Super Nintendo game, but you know the one with the giant bugs. Yes, there was a super there was an Earth there was a Super Earth Defense Force in the NES. It's a I think it was a Jalico arcade shoot 'em up that got converted to the N6 that got converted to the Super NES. Apparently, it's one of the better looking Super Nintendo shooters. There we go. So weird. Okay, hold on. I don't know what unit Geminis are. Is that like a health thing? I have no idea what that means. Where'd he go? There he is. So it's a bit too antsy. So I'm not playing this game with audio. So what music should I use as the backdrop for this? Um, Metroid, I guess. Like this is a jungle song. Like maybe I could play the Sparkster soundtrack. That might be a bit too extra for this game. It's too heroic. But it's a mascot platformer from the '90s. Maybe it's appropriate. Very good Super NES soundtrack, by the way. If you haven't heard, do yourself a favor. It's a really underrated Super NES soundtrack. No one's talking about it. No one ever. I mean, I know people like pimp Konami music all the time, but no one talks about Sparkster. Probably because it was a bad game that no one played. I played it when it launched. I thought it was like decent. I reviewed it at the time on Usenet back in the day. I don't remember Sparkster being terrible. Like I said, great music. Shot more people aren't talking about it. Exceptionally well produced. Like really good instrumentation on that soundtrack. Very high energy. Like in a lot of ways, it's like a prototypical. I might need my other gun. Yeah, I gotta bring out the machine gun. I know Contra 3 is a very underrated soundtrack too, but it's really weird that no one talks about Sparkster's music. Like no one really talks about like Sunset Riders or Sparkster, and I guess that's kind of expected. I remember a lot of people playing it. I don't remember anyone ever talking about the music. Sort of curious. I press the X button to switch weapons. Probably had more bullets than that. Just a second. Yes, P shooter isn't great, but like I said, the aiming controls are a bit too slippery. Even when I'm looking down the sights, they're a bit too slippery, but it's more manageable than I thought it would be. So that's saying something. I think I'm able to corral this game's camera controls by looking down the iron sights. This can't be good. Somewhat generous auto aim. We're gonna need more machine gun ammo though. Okay, pistol will do for the rest of these guys. Yeah, like I can totally see people like renting this game from Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or something and saying this is the sequel to Goldeneye. Well, it probably wasn't supposed to be. Like I want to say this game was delayed because they were trying to like refine it a bit. But then Goldeneye got delayed and it was like, look, this movie's like 2 years old. We have to release this game eventually. Because remember that game was delayed by at least a year, I want to say. But obviously it paid off. I mean, they didn't fix the frame rate, but paid off. Third best-selling video game on the console, which means it probably sold like 6 or 7 million copies at least. I'd say. I got some extra bullets in my pistol, so that works. So I guess I'm gonna have to cut some stuff from earlier in the video where I try to make sense of the controls. But I kind of want to keep everything just so I can document how weird it was for me to kind of figure out how the controls work. Because there is definitely a wind up. There's definitely a learning curve here, but holding down the left trigger seems to do the job. Makes it easier for you to point and shoot. Literally, the camera follows your character very quickly. So it's a very good camera follow speed. So I don't know if that was in the original N64 game, but it definitely makes the game way more manageable. As long as I don't have to do a bunch of crappy platforming in 3D, I think we might be fine. But yeah, remember, like the mid '90s were weird because remember we're making that transition from 3D platforming paradigms to like third person, like with a static camera and 2D side view stuff, or top down only, basically. And now we're moving to these games with dynamic cameras like this. The camera's always moving. It's a point of view camera, so we're still trying to figure out how auto aiming should work, how platforming should work. Again, camera controls were very spotty back then because we hadn't quite refined the rules for how far behind the character should the camera be. You know what I mean? How fast should it move? Like when should it move? Like when should it pivot? That kind of thing. And that's what I mean. It's such a weird experimental time for video games because obviously 2D and I'm not one of those guys who thinks that 2D ran its course, obviously, but it was like 2D games. Like you had so much potential in the art. Like look at games like Rayman and Astal and what was the other game? Was it Pugsley and Pugsley? I don't remember the name, but there were like some really like yeah, Earthworm Jim counts too. Like some really phenomenal looking 2D games in the early to mid '90s especially. Like on the Super NES, you had ActRaiser 2 and Axelay. What was the other game? I mean, apparently Super Earth Defense Force was really good. I gotta play that game sometime. I'll look at a video, see how well it holds up. I could think of about maybe 5 Super NES games with really good art. I mean, Super Street Fighter 2 look. Whoop! Don't shoot him! Don't shoot him! Okay, so my timing was bad. The enemy shot him before I could save him. So I think you have to shoot the guy before you have to shoot the enemy before the enemy kills the hostages. Yeah, you got him. Yes, I saved him. I shot first. So I wouldn't mind, like I said, if the controls were better, rooms like this where you have to like rush and figure out who's in danger first, and then chase after the enemy before they can shoot the hostage. Like that, like A room like this shows the potential of a game with a decent frame rate and decent camera controls. Like if they got the play control down, a room like this could have showed the potential of a game like this. But like I can imagine like a bunch of rooms you have to like run into them and save the hostages. Like that's the kind of thing you well you kind of do that in Goldeneye as well, but that's the kind of thing that can make a game like this really work. But again, you need better, much better camera controls than this game allows. This platforming isn't terrible, but it could be really annoying. Like it could get really annoying really quickly. Yeah, I needed that. So how much of this game am I gonna play? Probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Not in this video though. This is mainly supposed to be a research stream. But yeah, I mean, for people like me, I'm always curious about the history of video games and whether old video games still hold up. I don't have a lot of affinity for. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for the N64 era, honestly. Whoops, fell in the water. Kids, line them up. Where are they? Machine gun will whittle them down, and the pistol can finish them off. Need a cooldown on this. Short control burst. Again, because the controls are so sloppy, that limits what the designers can do in terms of. Whoop! Look at that! Wow. So that's all of them. Two killed, but all the others were saved at least. Didn't leave any behind. That's what I mean. It's like I guess I have to set the table a bit because remember, this is the game that followed up. This is the game that followed up Goldeneye. So you can obviously see people walking into this game saying, "Wait, this sucks. This is just a it's just a corridor shooter with really bad controls and really ugly graphics." Again, Goldeneye wasn't exactly a barn burner when it came to visuals, but it was mainly about the level design. And I don't know, this level design feels really like this game feels like unfinished. Like it feels like a demo. Like it still feels like the game got released and it still feels like a demo. I don't know what all these Gemini units are. Are those heal me? I guess. Like this feels like a game where it's like it feels like it feels like I'm at the CES at the Consumer Electronics Show, and we're at the Nintendo booth, and Rare has their own little section where they're showing off. Oh, look at all these games they're coming out, and it feels like I'm playing a game, and it feels like I'm playing a game that's intriguing but unfinished. Actually, I mean, to be honest, it feels like I'm playing the tutorial for a game that's going to get more interesting later. But for now, it just feels really long. And remember, like all these corridors, like all these tiny rooms. Remember, there wasn't a whole lot of memory in these on the N64. Like I want to say there was what the PlayStation 2 had 64 megabytes of memory, and I want to say the N64 had maybe 16. I forget. No, 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 no. How I want to say the RAM expansion card had an extra 4 gigs of memory in it, right? Something like that. I mean, the idea was to expand the amount of memory you could play with to like 4 megabytes, which was not insubstantial back then. Because remember, when video games came out back then, how much RAM were you playing with back then? Like on a PC, you might have 8, right? 8 megabytes, not like 8 gigabytes. I'll have to double check and see when 1 gigabyte became normal. Like when was 1 gig? Like if you buy a laptop today, it's gonna have 1 gigabyte of RAM in it. That's normal. I think phones have a gigabyte of RAM in them these days. But remember when the PlayStation 3 came out, it had what 256 megabytes of RAM. The 360 was a monster. It had like five. It had like half a gigabyte of RAM in there. So, and apparently the Gears of War developers like begged Microsoft, "Hey, you want this Gears of War game that looks so amazing? Epic, the guys who did Fortnite. They're like, hey, you really want this Gears of War game? We need more RAM. Give us more RAM, darn you!" And they did, and well, it paid off. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the 360 consistently got better frame rates than the PlayStation ever did. PlayStation 3. Although, like I said, I'm willing to concede the PlayStation 3 is a better console at a wider variety of games, a wider variety of exclusive games that aren't available in the 360. And you can play PlayStation 1 games on it. And it's a fantastic media player. It's a Blu-ray player, so it's objectively a better system, I think. But the 360 gave you better performance in a lot of cross-platform games. As I recall, nearly every 360 game, every cross-platform game had slightly higher frame rates on the 360. And of course, there were games like Bayonetta, which apparently didn't barely ran on the PlayStation 3. But yeah, I have about 50 PlayStation 3 games in my collection right now. Half of them aren't available on the 360. I'm forced to concede the PlayStation 3 is a better console, but I recommend both consoles to anyone. The Xbox 360 is like $60 used these days here in 2023. PlayStation 3 is getting easier to find, I think. If you're willing to spend like $90 on it, it's a very, very, very good console. I might call it the best console of all time for people who don't play games. For people who don't have internet connections, PlayStation 3 might be like the best. Like if I were telling like a 10-year-old, I want to like say I want to start playing video games. Okay, I'll buy you a used PlayStation 3. You can start playing PlayStation games on it. Like, start playing like what would I get that kid? Like, I would not give him an N64, absolutely not. But play some Ape Escape, I guess, if it's not too expensive. Can't go there. I can go this way, right? I already went this way, though. I mean, am I going the wrong way? Yeah, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, we're leaving. F this. We somehow managed to play this game for an hour. I don't know. I was not expecting that. PlayStation. For a 10-year-old? Because remember, like, if you think about it, when the Atari came out, the games looked about as ugly as this. Like, the Atari 2600 was not a pretty game console. Although you could argue that the graphics in a game like this are about equal to an early NES game, if you will. Like, this is probably not as sharp as like a Blaster Master, but it does the job. I think I just went the wrong way. Yeah, what PlayStation? Yeah, like Ape Escape. I guess Jumping Flash. That's a 3D game that might be kind of hard to wrangle. I would not be opposed to getting a PlayStation Classic, but I know some people feel some kind of way about that. But if I had a PlayStation 3, I would want to start them off with some PlayStation 1 games, I guess. That's a very good question. Because it's like I would like a 10-year-old would like Final Fantasy 7, but I wouldn't want them to start there. Maybe Final Fantasy 8 or Final Fantasy 9 or Grandia would be a decent starter. Yeah, Grandia is a decent starter game, I think. It's not that expensive. It's like what? Like it's like $30 these days. That's not too expensive. If you just want the disc, it's like $30. Didn't it already save you? Hold on. I might just be going in a big circle. Just a second. Yeah. I said pretty sure I saved you before, dog. Am I just replaying this entire level? Speed run. Walk him down. You already save all the koalas. Got him. So now I'm getting the hang of this game a little bit. How about just ignore these guys entirely? Well, I can't do that. Down he goes. Life Force door. That means I gotta kill everyone in the room, probably. I remember that video game. Yeah, any shooters for a kid? Probably R-Type Delta? I need to play that. I need to play more PlayStation 1 games. This is driving me nuts. I've been neglecting my PlayStation 1. Vagrant Story is too hard. Final Fantasy Tactics might be pretty approachable for a kid. But, yeah, though I would argue it might be too hard. Final Fantasy Tactics is a lot for a 10-year-old to take in. But if they're really into RPGs and they want to like go that route, Final Fantasy Tactics might be a gentle introduction to turn-based strategy games. I think it could be made into a gentle, like if they're willing to just pick fights with enemies and just kind of get stronger, and if they just want to pick fights with enemies and just get stronger and learn skills, yeah, certainly Final Fantasy Tactics, no problem. Vagrant Story is a bit weird. I would leave that to like a more advanced gamer, not to like a kid who's never played video games before. But yeah, for a first video game console, the NES is fine, but I think the Super NES is a better option. It's more refined. But you have to hold down the jump button to get more height, I think. Yeah, you get a bit more height if you hold down the jump button. It's a little spring. Yeah, give yourself a bit more spring. Hold on, someone's still shooting at me. There was a radar in Goldeneye, wasn't there? Okay, I'm out. Problem solved, I guess. So again, I guess I'm going backwards. I should not have done that. Is there a sniper on the roof? There's a sniper on the roof. You. Remember when Turok 2 came out and people lost their minds? Like, oh my god, the AI is pre-scripted to be not as terrible as most AI in video games. We'll talk about Turok some other time. But yeah, like Mario 64 is obviously like a massive game if you can get your hands on it. But I mean, like, I would not give an N64 to a kid. I mean, like I can't justify it. There's aren't enough good games on there. But why would I tell a kid to buy an N64 or an NES? So I can just tell them, buy a PlayStation 3. It's less expensive. The library of games you need to play are less expensive, I would argue. I was like, what's the least expensive like PlayStation 1 game I would buy a kid? They would like, well, if they like sports, they would like NFL Blitz. NFL Game Day is supposed to be pretty decent, right? But again, for a kid, it might be a bit too much. But you can play it in arcade mode. It's fine. Kid might like NBA. Might like NBA Jam on the PlayStation. That's a PlayStation game, isn't it? Maybe I'm supposed to be talking about N64 games. Like, okay, after you bought a PlayStation 3, would you want to play an N64? I'd say maybe, but the games are still the good games are still kind of expensive, right? Like Zelda's still kind of expensive, I think. Okay, a thing just opened. Just a second. Gotta whittle them down. I know I've been here before. I think I just kind of went in a big loop. I went in a big loop, and there's no map. Thanks. Look at me. Like, if you have an Xbox One, like, what rare games do you want your kids to play? Because Captain Skyhawk isn't on here, which I found kind of frustrating. That game is hard, but it looks great. It's a great demo for the NES. A lot of rare games are great demos in the NES. Really solid engineering on those games. 60 frames a second most of the time. Surprisingly decent art, as opposed to these games where they started looking really. It started getting mushy and smushy and ugly because they had their 3D modeling, CGI modeling toys, and you didn't really know what to do with them, really. I swear I've been here before. Saved them. See if I can save them and then start shooting people. Stay put, kid. I'm trying to save you. Go over here. I don't think anyone died. It's supposed to be a group of kids around here in one of the other rooms, I think. Hold on. Yeah, yeah, I would not recommend. I would not recommend Killer Instinct to a kid. Well, he didn't kill him. Amazing. Like for a teenager who's a bit more advanced, sure, that's not too terrible. It's Tetrasphere. Tetrasphere is a fantastic game, but I think it might be too hard to explain to like a kid. Oh, Pokemon Puzzle. There you go. Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. Easily the best N64 game ever made. But again, it's a puzzle game, so I'm sort of curious how a kid would feel about it. But kids might like Pokemon. Pokemon's inherently fun for the average kid, I think. And Animal Crossing, no, Harvest Moon came out on the N64. Yeah, yeah, Harvest Moon 64 is a thing, but I think it's too expensive. I don't even know if that game's any good. I do have the Wii version. Was it the Tranquility game? I think that's the way I came. But a door did open, so let's see if we can get to the other side. Yeah, what does the red mean as opposed to the green on that door? I have no idea. I guess we'll figure it out at some point. Again, I think I'm going in a circle. I don't want to say I've been here before. But for now, we'll just get the loot. Plenty of ammo, though. I think we're gonna wait. Is that the door that opened? Yeah, we're gonna have to go back. So we'll go backwards through that other door. So I guess red means that's the way I came, and green means I'm advancing. I mean, this game may come with a manual. Want me to go online and read the manual? I think you need an internet connection to read the manual for this game. I can't go that way. We have to go around, obviously. Can't go in there. It's a hole. It's a hole inside the stump, and the hole is completely cosmetic. What are these for again? I don't know. Can't believe I've been playing this game for an hour. I don't think I played. I think I said I played this game for an hour when I rented it when on launch, but again, I barely even touched it. There were so many N64 games that I rented and bought and barely even touched. But again, since I'm making video logs of my playing sessions now, it gives me more of incentive. It gives me more of an incentive to document these games as I play them. Again, I didn't buy the rare replay with the intention of playing games like this. Like it's for me, this is a filler game. And this is whoa. Oh, crap! Wow, this is not good. Wow, that was not good. Is there a place I can hide? I can just run away. Saved him. Yeah, I've been here before. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, that's the life force door because I probably have to beat all these guys first. Just a second. Let's do it. So I needed to get past these guys or stay far enough away from them so that they wouldn't mow me down immediately. My cover is literally blown. We good? Whoops, that was stupid. Can't mantle up. This isn't Call of Duty. We're good? Yeah, so that Gemini crap is for health. But again, I don't even know how much health I have. I can't read that stupid hex that stupid hemisphere on the bottom left hand corner of the screen. Because I can't tell. I could never tell how much energy I had left. It just seemed weird. Still, yeah, I think the grenade kills that I got last time I cleared a level was because an enemy was killing his own allies with those grenades. That's probably why those grenades were so effective. But yeah, holding down the left trigger here in the Xbox One version seems to save the game because I would never play this game if I couldn't get control of that camera. But being able to hold down the left trigger and kind of like move the camera, have the camera move with me as I turned and aimed at simultaneously, that saves the game. Because these controls are a mess if you aren't looking down those iron sights. That was how I was. That's how I. So I finally got comfortable moving and aiming, moving and turning my character by holding down the left trigger, so I can get that targeting reticle on the screen and kind of swerve with my head. So I was swerving with the aiming cursor, so it makes the game a lot more playable. Wow. But again, I could totally see people bouncing off this game if they just didn't want to put up with it. So I can't imagine how bad it was on the N64, which only had one joystick, remember. It didn't have two joysticks like this one does. So the ability to shoot, the ability to hold down left trigger and then use the right stick to kind of move, like in Just Cause 2 or Saints Row 3, helps a lot. So the game becomes a lot more manageable. So let's save here. So, I mean, a lot more progress than I expected, actually. All right, so we can probably call it. Let me go back to the main menu. Just a second. Yeah, we did all right, all things considered. I don't know what the quick equip function does, but whatever. Milestones. Play the game for the first time. That was obvious. Spend time playing this. Well, I don't have any other characters to play with. Still have the tribals over time. Well, whatever. Floyd is not a funny shape. Over time, use every weapon in the game. Defeat 1,000 enemies across the game. Find all the ship's parts. Activate all the totem poles. Over time, collect 300 ant heads. I think I got. So I got 3 of them. 3 out of the 300 I needed. Beat Mizar. This feels like a game that a kid would have been gotten as a present and like immediately gotten disappointed once they found out it wasn't Goldeneye. That's what I tend to believe. I already saved the game. There's no like system wide game save like there is in like Battletoads, so I can like save scum. So I can't like rewind and like play through the same level multiple times. Select. We're fine there. 1 to 4 players. 1999. So there's a quick launch. I want to see. Well, before we end the video, we'll do a quick check of some of the Jet Force Gemini crap. There might not be any, if I'm being honest. I don't think I unlocked anything related to it though. I will play the Xbox 360 games eventually because I did play Perfect Dark, obviously, back in February of 2023. Did unlock it with only 2 videos, so whatever. I'm still mad. Well, I'm not. This console isn't online, but I'm still mad they don't allow you to record more than an hour, more than 5 minutes of video at any time. Conquer Bad Fur Day, Killer Instinct, Blast Core. I will be playing. Here it is. We'll be playing more Blast Core eventually. That's probably my favorite game on this console so far. Well, I might Viva Pinata might really grow on me. Haha. And I remember kind of getting into it. It becomes a black hole if you're really into it. We'll see how it goes. Was it Brad Shoemaker over at Giant Bomb and Nextlander who said like this, like Viva Pinata is like the game where it's like Saturday morning, nothing to do, nothing planned for the day, just kind of chill. So we'll come back to that nonsense later. So yeah, Jet Force Gemini. I'm willing to play more of it. I'll say that, but it looks very mid at best. Like it looks like a game that's like a C plus at best. Fitfully interesting, but this doesn't seem like much. It's a shame. This has been Jet Force Gemini. Research video number 1, played on the Xbox One from the rare replay disc I played offline. I'm recording it using my triple driver headphones from iMore, the built-in microphone. They are plugged into a USB A dongle. The capture device is capturing at 720p at 60 frames a second using the inland USB-C dongle. I don't know what the actual name is. No game audio, but I didn't really need it. I think it only records in mono sound anyway. We'll double check. Recorded on a Windows 11 laptop, 2 cores, which is all you need to record games like this at 30 frames a second. Jet Force Gemini on the Xbox One. This is being played on the Rare Replay disc. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, if you want to play N64 games like this on your Xbox One, even if you have the disc, the game requires you to install a patch. So you have to go online and download the patch so you can install all of these games and the N64 emulator. So if you want to play Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, you got to download the emulator. So this game can only be played from a disc once you download it. So again, it's another one of those games that might be out of limits. That might be off limits for people if the Xbox service ever goes down in the next 10 years. I don't know. I tend to believe by the year 2030 you'll still be able to play this game. You'll still be able to download this game if you own an Xbox One still. But it might be a situation where people who own an Xbox One just need, like, they need to have a used Xbox One that's basically not formatted, I guess. If I gifted this Xbox One to a family member, they can play all of these games offline. I'm playing this game offline. But I had to download it 4 years ago when I bought this console and this disc. Again, I've mentioned in the past, if you want to play rare replay games, you're gonna have to. You can play the old games, like the games from the 1980s. They will all run from the disc. But all these games from the 90s, you're gonna have to download those. So I make no promises. Again, depending on your internet situation, that's gonna limit your ability to play this game. The 1990s were weird. This game was the first game to be released after Goldeneye, the first rare game. The developers of Goldeneye eventually released this game, I think about a year or two after Goldeneye came out. And of course, Goldeneye was a massive success, and people were feeling some kind of way about, hey, what's Rare going to do next? What's their follow up to Goldeneye? And well, this was in the pipeline. And I was there when it launched, and there was a whole mess of hype leading up to this game because the developers of Goldeneye they're gonna hit a home run again. They were gonna do it again. Lightning was gonna strike twice. And I know, look, the N64 fans were weird about a lot of things, and I think as a person who was there when they dropped their hype train, I'm pretty certain that they had to believe this game was going to be great because there weren't a lot of great games on the N64 after GoldenEye. As I recall, there was like a period with like a year or so where people were saying, you know what? I'm kind of sick of playing GoldenEye now. I kind of want to play something else. And none of the other games, they didn't seem to be interested in any of the other games in the console at the time. Meanwhile, the PlayStation 1 was blowing up and selling all the units. So everyone who backed the Nintendo pony was kind of wondering if maybe they were kind of second guessing themselves, even though they liked GoldenEye. That's another issue, though. Invert aim, monitor controls. We have dual stick controls for this game, but of course, this game always had camera problems. And when I rented it, I remember the frame rate being kind of iffy. And apparently, that was one of the major. I mean, let's be honest, the frame rate in GoldenEye was terrible too. This wasn't significantly worse than that, but arguably the aiming controls weren't much better. So you didn't really get the benefit of that. I might have to invert these controls. This doesn't seem right. This is a research stream in case you're wondering, but we'll figure out what's going on here. I'm just trying to make sure I can get the camera. I never did find a really good camera set up for me. You can hold down the right trigger to get yourself a little iron sights. But I don't think there's any other. I want to say there were multiple configurations for the camera. I never really found one that was really helpful. I can probably make this game work. I guess this is mainly a research stream. So what are our options here? I don't know if I want to invert the aim because there is no button remapping. Yeah, there's no button remapping. So you can strafe, you can aim high or low. We're gonna probably have to invert those aiming controls. Target and fire, that's fine. Quick equip with the D-pad. I'm gonna have to invert these controls. Give me a second. Now I'm pressing up on the right stick. Huh? Just a second. Let me see if I can get this right. Okay, something's going on here with this right stick. If I press down, I'm strafing to the right. Up. If I press down, something's going on with the strafing controls. I can probably work with it. I see to kind of get this right. Yeah, I'm not able to. Yeah, these right stick controls are really weird. Strafe, strafe. Yeah, like I'm trying to do like a Just Cause 2 things. Obviously, this is a character action game, and Saints Row and Just Cause 2 are my points of reference. Maybe I have to invert these. Yeah, maybe I have to invert these. That is bizarre. Okay, just a second. Invert aim. We'll try that. I want to see what's going on. I don't know what the modern controls would be. I'm just kind of curious how that would work. Maybe just a